If you don't want to be fined 2 lakh rupees and avoid legal notices in your life, then go ahead, read that huge pile of articles that talk about FEMA, income tax laws and so on. And if you think you cannot do that, which we know is for sure, then here we are to rescue you. Welcome to Groww NRI channel. I'm Rao and I'm here to help solve all your NRI investment related queries. Welcome to our very first video where we'll be talking about the 5 main things that you must know the moment you become an NRI. The first thing is your residential status, which helps you determine whether you're an NRI or not by law. Number 2, the banking part will tell you what accounts you can operate. Number 3, investments. That will tell you what sort of investments an NRI can or cannot do. Number 4 is taxation, which will tell you about your tax liability in India. And number 5, remittance, which talks in detail about the intricacies of money transfer from India to abroad and vice versa. So how do you know you're an NRI? Who decides your residential status? Is the definition given by one law or by multiple laws? Well, it's not that easy. It is as complicated as a jalebi. Why? Because your residential status is defined under 3 laws depending upon the purpose of it. And these 3 laws are Income Tax Act, FEMA Act and Aadhaar Act. Let us understand all of them one by one. The Income Tax Act applies when your residential status is decided on the basis of the number of days of stay. On the other hand, FEMA Act applies where your residential status is based on your purpose or intention to stay. Lastly, as per the Aadhaar Act, your residential status is determined when you apply for an Aadhaar card. So this is not that important when it comes to your investments or taxation related queries. But Income Tax Act and FEMA law are the ones that you should be well versed with because they are very important. And without understanding these, you won't be able to live a hassle-free life in a foreign country. So remember that FEMA and income tax laws apply to your investments and taxation related decisions. And they're the source of almost every money decision that you'll be making in your life. Income tax governs your taxability, whereas FEMA regulates all financial transactions like investment in shares, mutual funds, real estate, so on and so forth. So whenever you file a return or make any investments, make sure you know your residential status as per their respective laws. And if you're confused about determining your residential status as per these laws, worry not, we are here for you. If you want, we'll soon make a video on this topic. Just let us know in the comments section. So once your status is changed from resident Indian to non-resident Indian, then sadly and unfortunately, hectic formalities are coming your way. Because now you need to be careful while dealing with all the activities from banking to investments to taxation to remittance and whatnot. Now let's move to another chapter where we will learn about banking. So once your NRI status changes as per the FEMA law, your savings account will undergo an operation surgery because NRIs are not allowed to hold a resident Indian savings bank account. And by mistake you fail to do so, then prepare yourself to pay a penalty of up to 3 times the amount involved in the existing resident savings account or 2 lakh rupees if the sum is unquantifiable. And with the devil's grace, you'll end up paying a penalty of 5,000 rupees every day from the first day of intervention until the fine is paid. Sounds complicated. Well, the point I want to make here is that once you become an NRI, then stop operating your resident Indian savings bank account. So then what will you do as an NRI? What will happen to your EMIs, your SIP investments, etc.? Do you have to change the account details with every third party? Well, there is a solution and I will cover it in this video. Just stick to it. But first of all, know that as an NRI, you can open 3 types of accounts, that is NRE, NRO or FCNR account. Let's understand 3 of them one by one. First is the NRE account, or let's call it non-resident external rupee account. As in the name, it already says external, so obviously it means that in this account, you can keep your foreign earnings in India. But remember, it will be stored in the form of Indian currency, that is the rupee. It simply means that your foreign earnings will be converted into a rupee for that. In this account, your money can be freely transferred back to the NRI's foreign country without any major restrictions. I repeat, without any major restrictions. And the best part is that the interest earned is tax-free over here. So definitely feel free to enjoy such perks. The second is NRO account or non-resident ordinary rupee account. Here an NRI is allowed to store all the income earned from India. So whatever money you make within the boundaries of India, whether it's your rental income from property that you own in India, or your dividends from shares or mutual funds, pension income, etc., will be deposited into this NRO account. And remember that the money from this account will face a lot of restrictions when you transfer it back to the NRI's country of residence. Repatriation from the NRO account is a bit complicated and you'll end up scratching your head. But don't worry, we have covered this part ahead under the remittance section, so stay tuned for that and just be a little patient. Also, just note down one more thing that may make your day. So under NRE and NRO accounts, you can open 4 types: savings, current, recurring and fixed deposit. Also remember, I told you a minute ago that would put you in trouble with the RBI if you have a resident savings account. How will you resolve that? Who's going to rescue here? NRO. You may not need to open an NRO account separately. You can simply convert your existing resident savings bank account into an NRO account, and through this, your account number will be the same and you will not have to juggle multiple external parties. You can easily carry out your EMIs, your SIP investment, etc. through your converted NRO account. So remember that once you become an NRI, convert your savings account immediately into an NRO account. Third is FCNR account, or let's call it foreign currency non-resident account. Here, NRIs can save their foreign currency earnings in India without converting them into rupees. And this is growing in popularity today because it prevents rupee depreciation, has an easy repatriation facility, and has no tax on interest earnings. In this account, you can store your foreign earnings in any permitted currency, basically that foreign currency which is freely convertible into rupees. You can only open a fixed or term deposit in this account from 1 to 5 years. Complicated? Let me break it down for you. So let's say you withdraw money within 1 year. You will not enjoy interest benefits in that case. And even if you think in your wildest dream to extend this account beyond 5 years, then drop that plan because you cannot do that. Let's move to the next chapter, that is investments. Are you allowed to invest in all kinds of investment vehicles like government schemes, shares, property, agricultural land, etc.? Well, all of them have separate answers. It's a yes, no, or sometimes complicated, just like your relationships. But relax, I'll make it simple for you because, as I said, I'm here to help you out. First, let's talk about one of India's favorite investment vehicles, which is property, which comes with mixed blessings. The bright side is you can buy residential or commercial property in India without any major restrictions, and for this you also qualify for home loans. Second is the heart of the women of the house, and that is gold. So as an NRI, can you invest in gold in India? The answer is also just like your relationship status, because it's neither yes nor is it a no, and in one case quite complicated. So these are the various methods through which an NRI can invest easily in gold. But unfortunately, you cannot invest in sovereign gold bonds once you've achieved an NRI status. But the complicated part is that you can still remain invested if you had invested in a sovereign gold bond when you were a resident Indian, and you can continue to hold the bond until the date of maturity. Coming to other investments like mutual funds, shares, national pension scheme, government bonds and securities like GSEC and T-bills, you can invest in them as an NRI. But as an NRI, remember that you cannot invest in these government schemes. But the complicated status says that if you had invested in PPF as a resident and later on your status was changed to NRI, then in this case you're allowed to invest as an NRI till maturity. But remember that you won't be able to extend it. Let's fast forward and open the next and the scariest chapter, taxation. The first and foremost thing is that while filing your income tax returns, you must check your residential status as per the Income Tax Act and not as per the FEMA Act. Now let's unwind your most commonly asked question right away. Coming to the first question, is your income earned abroad taxable in India? No, foreign income is not taxable in India. The income you earn in India after becoming an NRI is taxable in India. If you want to take the Indian income back to your resident country, DTAA laws can help you save some money. We'll make a detailed video on DTAA in future as well. Just let us know in the comment section. Also, here's a snapshot of the sources of Indian income that will be taxable as per the applicable taxation rules. Coming to the second question, should you file an income tax return in India? Yes, whoever you are, either RI, NRI or an alien, if your Indian income exceeds 2.5 lakhs, you must file an income tax return in India. That's all. In the 5th chapter, we have remittance. What do you mean by remittance? When you transfer money from a foreign country to your home country or vice versa, either for family support or for investing purposes. Now you have two conditions in remittance. The first one is inward remittance and the second one is outward remittance. So when we see this from India's perspective, inward remittance simply means transferring money from a foreign country's bank account to India's bank account. So in inward remittance, foreign money is coming into India. Whereas under outward remittance, money is sent outside of India, which means the money from your Indian bank account is transferred to your overseas bank account. And that's why they both have different regulations depending on your account type. So if you transfer money from this account, there are more restrictions than NRE account. Repatriating from NRO account is literally an extra hassle because you must submit all these forms to your bank. On the other hand, if you transfer money from your NRE account where your foreign earnings are stored, there are rarely any restrictions. In short, NRIs can freely repatriate funds or do outward remittance from NRE and FCNR accounts. At the same time, there's a limit of $1 million per financial year per account holder for repatriating current income from NRO accounts. That's why just be careful while using your account and the purpose you're using it for. For instance, if you're making SIP investments and you're doing it with your NRO account, then while making these investments, it's not a big deal. Even when you'll withdraw it, it won't be a big deal. But when you want to receive that money in your overseas bank account, transferring from NRO to overseas will come with some formalities compared to NRE account. So if you're making investments as an NRI, you prefer using an NRE account, as transferring funds will not be a hassle and the interest earned from that account will be tax-free too. Now the question is, through which mediums can you send the money? How can the funds be transferred? So there are various options through which funds can be transferred, and here is a snapshot of multiple channels. Remember that while remitting funds, don't go for any option. Select the best channel transfer after considering transfer cost, time taken, and the operators. And if you do some research, you'll end up saving a lot of money too. So far, we've discussed the 5 most important pillars of your finances: residential status, banking, investments, taxation, and remittance. In the upcoming videos, we will break down these topics in detail. And if you want us to cover any topics or have any questions, feel free to comment. We'll be more than happy to answer it. Until then, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to avoid missing out on any of our videos. See you next time. Till then, keep growing.